This is Barney Cargile with your encouraging word for today on Wednesday, May the 20th, 2020, and our word for today is race. On May the 21st, 1990, Georgine Johnson entered a race in Cleveland, the 10K race, but she arrived at the wrong time and she saw runners lining up, and so she lined up and started the race. Somewhere along the way, she began to notice things were different. It was taking a different course, and she realized at some point that she was actually running the marathon. Now, the 10K race is about 8 miles. A marathon is more than 26 miles. The longest she'd ever run before was 8 miles, and she didn't know what to do, but with the encouragement of some other runners, she continued on, was putting one foot in front of the other, and eventually 4 hours and 4 minutes later, she crossed the finish line, having run more than 26 miles. And afterwards, she was interviewed, and she made the statement. She said, "This isn't the race I trained for. This isn't the race I entered, but for better or worse, this is the race I'm in." Now, I think that really speaks to a lot of our lives that, we can look, well, first of all, at the situation we're in right now. We're in quarantine, shelter in place, whatever you want to call it, and we could say, this isn't the situation I wanted in life. This isn't the situation I chose, but it's the situation I'm in. Or we can sit around and whine and cry about it and complain to everybody in the world, whether it's on Facebook or whatever. Or we can say, okay, I'm going to run this race because it is what it is. Actually, while we were in quarantine on we call it the Corona Cruise, our family, or the Grand Princess, we were interviewed by the media, and I made this statement. I said, this isn't the cruise we wanted or chose, but it's the cruise we got. And we need to stay in reality and accept the fact that this is what it is. Now, that's not only true of where we are right now, but maybe in our lives, big picture. Maybe you have a handicapped child. Maybe you have a debilitating illness. Maybe you got a divorce. Maybe you declared bankruptcy, and we could keep going with a host of other things. But the truth is, you can whine about it, and I realize those are big deals, or you can accept it and say, this is the race I'm in. Oftentimes in Scripture, God uses the metaphor of a race. One of those is Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1. He says, "Seeing that we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us set aside everything that hinders us and the sin that so easily entangles us, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." And then here's the key: keeping our eyes on Jesus, who, it says, for the joy set before him, endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of God. Now, several things in there. First of all, he says that we need to set aside everything that hinders us, not just sin, but everything. Oftentimes runners will run with weights on their ankles, but when it comes time for the race, what do? They cast them aside. Now, there's lots of things that can hinder us in our race. Maybe it's a bad attitude. Maybe it's entitlement. Maybe it's a victim mindset. Maybe it's just sitting around, having a pity party, negative thinking, whatever it might be. Cast those things aside. And it says, fix our eyes on Jesus. There's the finish line. The Christian life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Or it's not just about starting well, it's about finishing well. And the key is fixing our eyes on the goal. Jesus did that. He went through the cross. He endured the cross. It says, for the joy set before him. He knew what lay ahead. Fixing our eyes on Jesus is the key to running our race. And maybe we say, this isn't the race. This isn't the life I signed up for. This isn't the life I wanted, but it's the life I got. And I'm not going to give up. I'm going to persevere. And that is my encouraging word for today.